Welcome back, everybody, to episode 29 of the podcast. Today with me is Grayson instead of Holden, because Holden is at boot camp. So Grayson, how's it going? It's actually been a while since you've been on. I believe the last time you were on was when 7 other people were on or some shit.
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah, with Donovan, and I can't remember the whole. Is that Donovan's house?
It was like Jacob, Donovan, Paul, you, Grayson, Holden. I said you and Grayson.
A lot of Grayson go around. So.
Yep, 2 Graysons. So I did want to talk to you a bit about music. There's only like a handful of people I like to talk to about music. My mom's one of them, and I actually talked to her last night. She cut my hair. It
looks good, by the way.
Thank you. I'm trying to unpart it. I think I told you this already. I parted it my senior year, and it's so hard. It's harder to unpart your hair than to part it. So, you know.
Yeah.
So your hair's like naturally parted, right? I'm assuming, because your hair's like that.
I don't know.
I mean, it looks parted. But then again, in high school, it wasn't parted, so.
Yeah, in my hair in high school, for a while, I just didn't do anything with it, and it kind of looked like crap. But then senior year, I started to part it a little bit. Junior, senior year.
Later, I'll get into why I'm changing up my hairstyle. I actually put in my calendar each year I'm going to change my hairstyle again.
Oh, okay.
Which is crazy. Like, I think the next year will be 2025, and then 2029 if I live that long.
What the hell are you talking about?
I'm going to change it to like something else. But I'll get into why I'm doing that later. But yeah, I talked to my mom about music. She's one of the biggest influences to me of why I like certain stuff. She introduced me to Joel and the Beatles and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. Elton John's her favorite. I love talking to her about music. I feel most it's like at home with her. Mm-hmm. And then you, obviously, because I think you have a better understanding about like the depth of lyrics compared to anybody else in our group. I also like talking to Connor about music just because him and I have a lot of similarities. Like, we like similar shit. He's been kind of exploring other areas recently. He's been listening to a lot of country recently because he lives in Kentucky, and he's been listening to like some bullshit, but he still likes the same shit. He has the same base that I do. Cool. And then the fourth person's Jared. I actually really like talking to Jared about classical music, and sure. He's very astute with that sort of topic.
Yeah. Well, he was going for. I mean, he did music in high school, and he was really passionate about orchestral music. So
very, very much so, and he just has I think he has the best understanding of classical music compared to everybody else that I know.
Yeah, I'd say so. He listens to it like regularly. I remember he got a record system for playing vinyl records. Yeah. And he was talking about, he was showing me a song when we were at Connor's one time, or a piece, I think it was Mahler 5, if I'm not mistaken. And he was telling me the reason I got the vinyl record set up was to listen to this song, and he played it.
It's pretty cool.
Just, he shows you stuff that you haven't heard before. So
yeah, very interesting mind he has. And the final person, I'm only naming 5, that I like sharing music stuff with. I haven't talked to him in a while, but when I did talk to him, I enjoyed our conversations, was James. He is really he has a specific taste, obviously, with the heavy metal and rock and stuff like that. But he does know his stuff. He took music theory with you and Jared, obviously.
He was there.
That was the situation that we're not going to get into. But he's gotten a lot better. I've heard from sources that he's gotten a lot better at playing guitar, which I'm really proud of him for.
That's cool.
He's been working on that for like 7 or so years before senior year, 7 years before that. So he's been working on that for a long time, and it's something he's very passionate about, and I respect that a lot for him.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I really like talking to you guys about music.
As you know, I like talking about it too. So
yeah, my sister also is interesting because she also likes stuff like that, but she's also likes everything. She literally likes everything except for country.
That's a very common thing you see. Most people, they'll either factor out country, rap, or both.
Yeah.
So nowadays, I feel like people tend to give rap a little bit more attention.
Yeah.
Because it's becoming more mainstream, and I feel like people are doing more with it now than they used to.
Yeah. Recently, I've this past week at work, or I guess when this goes up, it'll be last week. I told this to Grayson already. Monday, my shift, I listened to John Lennon specifically, and then the next day I listened to George Harrison specifically, and then I went through each Beatle. I did Ringo on Wednesday, Paul on Thursday, and then the Beatles as the band on Friday, and it was a good listen. My outtakes is that they each are strong in each, like they each have a strong quality, and they're all. I actually like their individual music a lot.
Yeah.
I will say about what's interesting is I didn't expect this, but I think I like Ringo's voice the most.
Interesting.
Yeah. George is obviously the best guitarist, and Lennon and McCartney are both amazing songwriters.
Yeah.
That was what the conclusion I came to, and I actually had a poll on my story a couple days ago. I'll put it up on screen of, your favorite Beatle.
Yeah.
Because I was interested in knowing what people's opinions were about it. I personally like Paul the most, but that's just because he's done everything in the last 60 years, and he's still putting out music. So
yeah, he's doing awesome.
But yeah, I have a lot of and I kind of want to know your opinion as well, like on each one, specifically like with John, Ringo, and all them, like what your thoughts are on each individually.
Yeah, I guess I'll start with Lennon and McCartney since they're the big two from that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really I love Paul McCartney. I think like you said, he's still doing stuff nowadays. Very talented composer and musician, and he's still collaborating. I think he was on Foo Fighters. Like he was playing drums on there, and just very talented musician. Obviously, be able to play bass, guitar, and piano, and
which
vocalize.
He's extremely modest about it too, because he's like, I only know my songs.
Yeah.
So
yeah, no, he's incredibly humble.
Yeah.
Incredibly talented. Lennon, it's a shame that he passed away, so long ago, because it wasn't like he faded out before he hit big. I mean, he was in the fucking Beatles, so
yeah, it's true. And he did a lot of shit with Yoko Ono.
Yeah.
And she's pretty smart in her own right as well. With Lennon as well, this is why I don't really talk to Holden about this type of things, because he has this very strong opinion about Lennon, which I don't necessarily agree with, but I never talk to him about disagreeing with that, because it just gets nowhere. But I actually think Lennon's extremely misunderstood. A lot of people label him as this sort of thing, and Holden labels this as this sort of thing.
Yeah. But
I think he gets a bad rap for that, and he was, he was a good dude.
Yeah.
And his music's really good. They each have their own distinctive voice as well, even though they all sound the same because they're British. But I'm
I don't know if they sound the same because of it.
No, I'm just kidding.
No, Lennon, I think
they're good at harmonizing.
Yeah, for sure. No, Lennon's a very controversial, person and musician, and he definitely he did a lot of there's things that are bad that he did for sure. But I think as far as a musician goes and the way that he used his platform, I think it was very interesting. I think he was doing things, despite the bad, he was doing things for good reasons as well.
And it didn't help that his sense of humor was very satire.
Yeah.
He had an extremely satire sense of humor, and a lot of people kind of took offense to that.
Right. Well, there was the whole controversy when he was talking about Christianity. And
that was a huge one.
People started burning Beatle records.
That's the reason he got killed.
Yeah. That was what. The
last autograph he signed, by the way, was for the person who killed him. I'm not going to mention his name, but
okay. Yeah. He his assassin. That's what he was talking about, which is just so shocking, because that was something he said that during when the Beatles were around, and for that to happen so many years later, it's so
it's like
strange.
A decade and a half later.
Yeah. So, but I think I do really like his music. There's the whole Lennon and Yoko Ono split up the Beatles, which that might be a part of it, but there was a lot of other stuff.
Yeah,
too.
I absolutely think if any of them were dating someone like Yoko Ono, they would have done the same thing.
Yeah. Well, there's just so much.
Except for maybe Ringo, apart from Ringo.
Yeah.
Ringo is kind of, I think, the true Beatle, because I think all of them except for Ringo were looking to split but Ringo kind of,
Yeah, Ringo was very kind of passive about that. But yeah, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll just go on Ringo now.
We'll go to Ringo.
Yeah, he was. Like I said, he was very passive. I'll be honest, he's probably. I would say he's probably. I hesitate to say least favorite of them because I do enjoy his work. But it's probably the one that I've listened to the least out of all of them.
I kind of recommend it a little bit because there's some of his music that's written by George Harrison.
Yeah.
Because he kind of helped him get off the ground.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think that's how Ringo was introduced to the band.
Yeah.
Was through George. So.
And yeah, Ringo absolutely has an amazing voice, and I think I said it earlier, but like I liked his voice the most just because it's like it's deeper than everybody else's, and it's kind of soothing in a way, and it's really catchy with the way it goes with the drums.
Yeah, he didn't have many songs where he sang on
albums.
No,
I think he had the least, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, I mean obviously Lennon and McCartney took most of them.
Yeah,
and then Harrison, that's my favorite of the four, which is kind of the unpopular pick. He's the quiet one. But I think, like you said, Lennon's misunderstood. I think he's misunderstood
George, absolutely.
Well. Just incredibly intelligent. And
the two dead Beatles are obviously the two most misunderstood.
Yeah. And
it's a shame they didn't live as long as they did.
Yeah.
Harrison actually died the year I was born.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. Yeah. I just love his work. I mean, it's just a treat to listen to it, and his influence over the band is shockingly
overlooked,
prevalent. Yeah, and just super cool.
Yeah,
it's my favorite of the four.
Yeah, I've been watching a lot of interviews of the four of them recently. I don't know why I've been on a Beatles kick of late, but it's just the way it's been. And yesterday I actually listened to Lennon's final interview in like 2 days before he was killed.
Oh yeah,
and it was like on BBC Radio or whatever, and it was very interesting to listen to because. It looked like he was, because before that, he had like a 5-year hiatus of doing anything media related because he didn't really care for it. Right. But then after talking on that radio station, he looked like he wanted to talk more with media, which is unfortunate that he didn't get the opportunity to do that.
Yeah, so sad.
And one of my personal favorite musicians of all time actually talked about each Beatle, and I watched that as well. Billy Joel, He's good friends with Paul, and they closed Shea Stadium together, and that was pretty cool.
That's cool.
And he talked about, he never met Lennon, but he talked about how him and Lennon had like a house across the river from each other in New York.
Oh, cool.
And this is a story he got from somebody, I forget his name, but he said that the guy who told Billy this said that Lennon would go out on his boat. And he was like, oh, I don't want to bother Mr. Joel. And then Billy was like, oh man, I wish he came up and actually did bother me.
Wow.
And Billy would do the same thing. He would go out drive his boat, and he'd be like, oh, there's Lennon. I don't really want to bother him. So like they didn't, And apparently, the guy who told Billy that wrote a book about it, and he said that Lennon, after Billy Joel released Glass Houses, I think it was, Lennon went out on the boat and he said, hey, Billy, I love your album. I love your new album. But, obviously he didn't hear that.
Yeah, that's funny.
So, but I think that's a pretty cool story.
Yeah.
And, Billy has a lot of respect for Ringo as a drummer and George as a guitarist.
Yeah, I think George Harrison is probably one of the most underrated guitarists of all time.
Yeah, he's extremely good. And I believe Tom Petty inducted him in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
That's cool.
They were in a band, right? Petty.
I don't remember actually.
In the 80s or something. Petty and somebody else, I forget his name, but yeah. That's the Beatles for you.
The Beatles, man. Yeah, the Beatles are awesome. Yeah, I remember I got into them in like middle school because I was on this old school kind of binge back then. And, that lasted kind of up through high school. It wasn't until like senior year that I started to modernize my taste a little bit more. So I was definitely on like 80s and like before that as well. So I was really getting into that around that time. What I've been doing is I've been looking at like what inspires each artist, and obviously I've always been a Joel stan, but I looked at what inspired him, and like a lot of things were like the Beatles, for example, and Elvis inspired him. I've obviously already listened to Elvis, but I kind of, I didn't really look too much into the Beatles
but obviously I did for the past like couple months.
Yeah.
But definitely a great band,
mm-hmm.
and I don't think it's appreciated as much anymore, but it still aged well.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to think after 60 years.
When you think about it too, they were a band that lasted 10 years.
Yeah, 10
and
years.
When you view it, like, I think they started releasing albums in 62, so to only release, but I mean, they were releasing several albums a year at points. So, I mean, you think to just put out that much music, to have that much influence, despite being around for only 8 years, that is incredible. So.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, another inspiration of Joel was Ray Charles.
That's a good one, too.
Yeah, and he was fortunate enough to record with him. And the reason why Ray Charles, I actually watched this video yesterday as well. It's the making of the Bridge album. And you've heard the song Baby Grand. It's about his piano, and they're both pianists, obviously. The reason why Ray agreed to sing with him is because he heard that Joel named his daughter after him, Alexa Ray Joel.
That's cool.
And he went and recorded with him, and Joel was so nervous about it that he almost didn't do it, but he ended up doing it, and they had a good time. And then later, Charles actually inducted Joel into the Hall of Fame, Rock and Roll.
Awesome.
But more about Joel. I'm sorry for going on a tangent about music here, but he after Lennon died in 1980, he released an album called The Nylon Curtain. Very good album. Every song has that hint of Beatles in it, and there's a couple of songs in particular where he actually sounds like Lennon.
Really?
And Joel's amazing at impersonating people, and he did a really good job on that album. And if you get a chance to listen to it, I recommend it. Cool. A bunch of good songs on there, like Allentown's on there, Pressure, really obscure songs like She's Right on Time and Laura. They're just great songs, but I'm not gonna get too much into it, even though I have already. But
yeah.
Moving on. So yeah, that was our 17 minutes of music talk. What else can we talk about? You got any ideas?
Kind of. Well, yeah. I guess we don't have to move on from music immediately.
Oh, we don't have to. Yeah. You have. Are you still trying to make music?
A little bit. It's kind of hard to fit in my schedule.
You have a pretty tight schedule.
For me right now, I had one that I was working, like a song that I was working on, and it was going pretty good, and then I was like, then I get nitpicky about things, and I'm like, I should change this up and all that, and then you start to hate the things, like how it sounds. But I was like, trying to put vocals in it, and it just wasn't working out. I wanted to get some particular like effect, but I just couldn't figure it out. So I'm at like, I'll figure it out type of thing. So.
And I kind of want to get in that mindset, because especially just looking at all the people who do it over the history of music, I'm definitely inspired to songwrite, but I just don't have I don't play any instruments. So like, I don't know, I think songwriting is such a cool concept, and there's a lot of like different ways songwriters get their material, and I actually have some things I think of at work, and I'm like, oh, this would be a good song, but I just don't know what instruments would go with it.
Yeah, that's the tricky part, because I see people like Brooks and Chris making stuff with like actual instruments. And, I envy that so much.
I can't play anything.
Yeah, like I can't really play stuff either, and I mean I can play saxophone, but I can't really play anything else. I put stuff in my software, FL Studio, which works pretty well. It's just the different fonts and stuff. And I've made stuff that's pretty decent. When we were working on the movie, I don't know what the status of the movie is now with Holden not being around. I'm sure we'll pick it up at some point later on. But yeah, I made stuff for that, and I got good feedback on it, but I just wasn't able to finish stuff on it. So, and yeah, I'm kind of, I think now my approach is let me get the instrumentals done and I'll put vocals in later.
I think that's how you do it, right? Because every successful musician does that except for like Bob Dylan. Yeah. Dylan is like the only one I can think of that put the lyrics before the music.
Yeah. Well, I'll have ideas for lyrics, and I've had this before where I'll just like, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
And for me, I like putting
it's
like
just
phrases and
it's just the way you go about singing the lyrics is the thing. Because Joel does that too with like writing the lyrics, but there's only one song that he actually wrote the melody for as well before actually writing the music, and that's We Didn't Start the Fire, because he says the headlines in a certain way. He showed off the musical like piece of it, and it's just literally just one key on the piano over and over again. So there's like no point in doing it. But he said that's easily one of his like most overrated songs. That's what Joel said. But
yeah, it's I can see why it caught on. But
yeah, and I think funnily enough is that like John Lennon's son, I think his name's Sean. He was talking to Joel about it, and he was like, growing up in the 80s is so rough. And then Joel goes, yeah. And then he goes, well, you don't have to worry about it because you grew up in the 50s. And Joel's like, hey, a lot of stuff happened in the 50s. And then he started listing off the things, and he's like, that'd be a good song.
Yeah, it's funny how you hear some of those songs and how they come about.
Yeah. But yeah, and going back to my hair, so I
talk about hair.
I I got a haircut yesterday. My mom cut it. Thank you, Mom. But anyways, I kind of got, oddly enough, inspired by Lennon to kind of change up my hairstyle every so often, because Lennon said in an interview, because this is back when he had that, but a little bit longer.
He's pointing at my hair.
No, not his hair.
Oh,
Grayson's wearing...
Never mind. Pointing at John Lennon, who's on my shirt.
Yeah, Grayson's wearing...
Not my hair.
Grayson's
on my nipple.
Grayson's wearing a Let It Be shirt, so that, just look at that picture from the Let It Be album cover, and that's pretty much what I'm talking about. But his hair is like a little bit longer than that. He might have had bangs even. But he was talking to, I think it was Dick Cavett, and he was like asking about his hair, and he was like, Lennon said that it's boring to have the same hairstyle over and over again consistently. And he just changes it up every few years.
Yeah,
and I think that
he would change it up all the time.
And I think that's so interesting, and I kind of want to do that now. I kind of did it a little bit in high school. I used to have this dumb, like longer emo type hair. You probably know from freshman year's picture of me going like that.
Yeah,
and that type of hair. I actually had that hair since like 6th grade. That style of hair.
Just a mop.
Yeah, and before that I had like spiky hair, and that's why Grant calls me Spiky, because that's how we met.
I've never heard him call you that, but okay.
No, I'm in his contacts as Spiky.
Oh, well, I don't look at his phone, so...
That's fair, I guess. But yeah, he still calls me Spiky. And then after junior year, I kind of stopped doing that hair, and then I started parting it, because I wanted to look like Chandler Bing from season 1 of Friends, Matthew Perry, because I thought that was a cool hairstyle and like a 90s type hairstyle, and I was like, I'm gonna try and do that. And my mom was like, because she's the hairdresser type, she's like, it's really difficult to part your hair because your hair's naturally not parted. And I was like, okay. I was like, can you try? And she was like, I guess I could do what I could do. And then it was for my senior pics. I'll put my senior picture up on screen, and that's what my hair looked like. It was like just parted to the side. You can look at it too in the living room. We'll look at it. She just parted it, and then that's how my hair was for like 3 years. My hair was just always parted, and you guys see me in the videos, and my hair is always parted. But yesterday I told my mom I don't want it parted anymore because I'm trying to change it up.
Okay.
And right now it's still parted. You can't see it, but it's like still parted on the top.
Okay.
And I'm trying to, because I looked up videos to like not part it anymore, and a guy who's bald was like, this is what you gotta do.
Is it the salon guy?
Yeah.
Dude, I love that guy.
He's bald. And I'm like as soon as I clicked on the video, I'm like, how am I gonna take
No, he tells you good shit though.
I know, but like as my first impression is like, this
he guides others to a treasure he cannot possess.
I guess. So I did what he told me to do, and he said it takes a while to happen. So I'm like, all right. So I got to do it a few more times, I guess. And somebody in the comments said it took him 2 weeks. So I was like, all right. So I just got to keep after I take a shower, I blow dry my hair, and I do it down, not to the side. And then that's how it's like not parted anymore.
Oh, okay.
So I just got to keep doing that.
Interesting.
And oh man, my voice is all grumbly. I don't know why.
Some water?
Yeah, I'll take some water. Take some wine.
Josh. It's not Josh.
I don't know if that picked it up.
Hopefully.
Hopefully, yeah. But yeah, that's my hair situation. And as I was saying earlier, I like set a calendar for like each year I'm gonna change my hair again. So I want to keep my hair not parted up until like for like a few years, and then after a few years go by, I'm gonna part it again and grow it out really long. And then I'll cut it after like 4 years.
Gotcha.
And yeah, and then go from there.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's kind of weird to plan things out for like 4 years in the future, but I don't know.
I mean, we all plan things out, so.
What about your hair situation? You kind of have had the same look for a few years?
Yeah. Like I said, I didn't really do much with my hair. I kept it. My go-to haircut, I think, was like a 5 on the sides and back, and then like a scissor cut on top, and just keep like a few, like an inch or two.
You had to explain it to the barber. See, I've never done that before.
Really?
I've never been to a barber shop.
Oh, well, yeah. I assume your mom just has it.
Yeah.
I just went to like Great Clips.
Okay.
Which is part of the reason why I started growing out my hair. There's a story.
Okay.
So I would keep it like that. But I would always try to like grow out my hair whenever I could. I couldn't really grow it super long because of marching season, and I didn't want my hair super long because the hair would be on the collar. Fail uniform check, you gotta stack and rack chairs at the end of football games. I didn't want to do that, so I was just like, let me cut it short. Plus pictures and stuff, my mom would want my hair to be short for those. And so senior year came around, I get all my pictures and stuff done. It's March 5th of 2020. I remember the date. And
COVID was hitting.
COVID actually it didn't really hit then yet.
Okay.
So this would have been technically before it by like a few weeks. And
well,
so
it didn't hit us yet, but it hit you.
Yeah, I mean it was around, but it wasn't there was no shutdowns or anything where we were. So I got a haircut because that day, I don't know what it was. I don't know if my hair was just oily or if it was, I don't know, something was weird with it, but it was at a length where I could like feel it sticking to my forehead, and I was like, this is uncomfortable. I don't want this. Let me get a haircut. So I go to get a haircut, and they cut it really short. Like they did what they usually do, except they didn't really leave much length on the top. So I don't know if it was exactly even, but it was pretty close. And I was like, this sucks, dude. I'm never getting a haircut again. So I haven't gotten a haircut since then.
Well, yeah, you're man of your word so far.
Yeah. And like I've trimmed up the ends since then, but for the most part, I have not trimmed up length. And yeah, when I was growing it out, I was just like, what do I want from growing out my hair? And I didn't really have a goal. I was just like, let me just do it. Then there came a point where I was like, let me dye my hair. And that's probably like the first and last time I'll ever do anything with color in my hair. I dyed it black. And I was like,
with that.
Yeah, and so I had that. That would have been like September after I started growing out my hair.
Yeah.
And then I got it re-dyed in like December. So kept it like that for a while. I think like May rolled around, and then I was like, let me get the color out. So I went to someone to get it like recolored and everything. So.
Gotcha.
And yeah, since then I've been growing it out, and I want to get to a point where I can just cut the because it's still like there's still colored portions of my hair left over from that while it's been growing out, so I want to get rid of those at some point, but it'll be later down the line.
So. Yeah, hair's an interesting situation. At least it wasn't like this is content creator I watch, Ray Narvaez Jr. This is back in like 2012 2013. He had fallen asleep while getting a haircut because apparently him and his dad did that all the time together. But he fell asleep, and then he woke up and he had no hair on the side and he had hair on the top. He looked like a thumb. And I'll have to show you a picture later.
No, you show me that.
Oh, I have?
Yeah.
He looks great.
Awful.
And and he said he's never falling asleep during a haircut again.
That's a good idea. I never fell asleep during a haircut.
Yeah, it's not a normal thing. He told it to the achievement hunter guys because that's where he worked at the time.
Yeah.
And he was telling the story, and then like as soon as he got to the fall asleep part, they all went, "You fell asleep when somebody was touching your head?"
Nah, dude, I was always like dead. Like I was awake as fuck when they were cutting my hair. Yeah. I was like, they are not going to.
I can't understand how you would fall asleep even.
No.
But yeah.
Yeah, especially when they start, like, if they have to, like, trim it down. Like, I don't know how you could be asleep for that.
Yeah.
When your, like, skull's vibrating.
Yeah. especially with the razor and stuff.
Yeah.
But going back to Ray, kinda, you and him kind of share this. I don't know if you know this about him, but one of his favorite series of all time is Yakuza, actually.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Yeah. He got into it. I remember when he first got into it, I was like, this game's interesting. And it was like 2016 or some shit. And then he started playing it more and more. And then by like 2019, it became like his favorite series.
Yeah.
And every like direct he watches and reacts to, he gets really hyped for it.
Yeah.
Every like new release. So
yeah, I'm hyped right now. They got 3 games that they just announced.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know I love that series. Yeah, they just announced a localization plus remake of a game. It's set in, I forget what period of Japan it is. It's in like the late 1800s. And so there's you have like sword combat and everything, but they use characters from the main series, but they turn them into like new characters.
Okay.
So it's pretty cool. They also announced the new entry, so they changed the name from Yakuza to Like a Dragon. So it'd be Like a Dragon 8. Would be Yakuza 8 if they didn't change the name, obviously.
Are you upset by the name change, or?
I'm not upset by it. The reason they changed it was because it's called Ryoga Gotoku in Japan, which means like a dragon. And they called it Yakuza when they localized it because it would sell more.
Okay.
It always struggled with sales until like Zero hit, and then it got really popular. That would have been like 2016 is when that got localized.
Gotcha.
Maybe later. But yeah, no, it's but then the other game they announced was a game that takes place in between 6 and 7.
Okay.
So yeah, no, I'm really excited to play those, and because I started playing that in like late 2020 because Grant was really into it, and I was like, let's check this out. You know, there's a lot of like Baka Mitai memes, so I was like, let me check the game out. And so I started playing through Zero, and I was like, this is really good. And then I started playing through Kiwami and Kiwami 2, which are remakes of the first 2, and the remastered collection of 3, 4, 5. But it took me like a year after playing Zero to get into Kiwami, just because I was like, there's so much shit to do in all those games, and so I was very like burnt out pretty quickly. And then I got back into Kiwami, and I just started hitting them hard, and I got to 5, and 5 there's so much to do. It's probably up with Zero. I think I spent 100 hours in Yakuza 5, and that was just doing the main story, all the sub stories, and then like the side stories, which are like different kind of mini games. So yeah, and so I spent a lot of time in that one, and so I had to take a break like in the middle of that. But I just finished 6, and I'm playing through Judgment now, which is a spin-off of those games. It takes place in the same like district, which is kind of like a section of it's a fictional section of Tokyo. And so it takes place in that, but the story is kind of unlinked, and it's more of like a detective type of story. Keeps the combat from previous games. Because now with Like a Dragon, you see what I mean? It's confusing. Like a Dragon's Yakuza 7. With Yakuza 7, they changed it to an RPG. I haven't played it yet, but yeah, no. Judgment keeps the combat, and the story's been pretty good. I just started playing it the other day. It's been pretty fun. So
okay. What were your thoughts on the most recent Nintendo Direct that they did? It was like last week or something.
You know, a lot of people were really upset about it.
Really?
I didn't really. I thought it was fine. I thought it was pretty good.
I saw a couple of reactions, and I thought they were positive reactions.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good as far as directs go, but evidently a lot of people were like, "This is disappointing."
I think it's because of the farming thing. There was like 5 farming games or whatever.
Okay, you don't have to be hyped for every single game in the direct. You know what I mean?
The certain things that I took away, I'm extremely looking forward to the Return to Dreamland Deluxe, because the original Return to Dreamland for the Wii was really good. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was a pretty sick announcement. And Ray, I watched Ray's reaction to the direct, and they were like, we have one more, like after the Kirby announcement, and they were like, we have one more announcement for you. Please take a look. And then I was like, man, it would have been so funny if they ended with Kirby, because like it's like everyone would have been so pissed.
Yeah.
And Ray was like, I like Kirby, but nobody wanted that.
Yeah.
And then they ended with Zelda announcing the title of the new Zelda game coming out in May.
Yep, I'm excited for that.
That's pretty cool. What's it called again? The
Tears of the Kingdom.
Tears of the Kingdom. It's pretty cool.
Yep.
And it looks really good. They spent so long on it, and yeah, it looks really polished, and a lot of cool little mechanics that we saw from a glimpse of it.
Yeah.
Something that caught my eye from the direct that you might not really give a shit about. If there's any series that you could play for like the rest of your life, what would it be? It's kind of a bombshell, but
yeah, that's a question I have to think about.
Like, for example, we know Donovan, and he would obviously play Smash Bros for like the rest of his life.
Probably, yeah.
Smash Ultimate in particular.
Honestly, I know I just talked about Yakuza, but I feel like maybe it's just because I'm on a Yakuza thing right now, but I feel like there's enough content in there to keep you entertained for a long time.
It's a good series. For me, and the reason I'm getting into it like this is because for the game I'd play the rest of my life is if I had people to play with as well, it would be a lot better. Is Mario Party. I know you probably don't agree, but I really like Mario Party, and they announced they're porting not just Mario Party 1, not just Mario Party 2, but Mario Party 3 to the Switch, and I'm extremely excited for that. Because the Wii Virtual Console, they only did Mario Party 2.
Yeah.
Because 1, it's understandable they didn't do 1 because they have mini games that blister your wrists and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's probably good that they didn't do that. And then 3 was what everybody was pissed about. They never ported 3 to the Wii, and 3 is a very popular Mario Party. First one with Waluigi. Like everyone was getting at Nintendo for not putting on the Wii Virtual Console, and the fact that it's finally coming to a new gen console, everyone's very excited for that one. 2 is good too. I like 2 the most, but I've actually recently been like watching. I've been watching Ray's Mario Party tournament that he did last year. They ended it in October of last year. I've just been rewatching the VODs he uploaded to YouTube. And I'm on 3 right now, and 3 is such a crazy game. 3, I have experience with every Mario Party in depth except for like 3 and like 10. But it's 10, so I'm not gonna care about that one. But like the only experience I had from Mario Party 3 was watching the Runaway guys play it, and that's the only experience I had with it. Like I've never like delved into the game. It's actually very interesting. I can see why a lot of people like it. But yeah, I was always a big 2 guy, but I think I like 3 a lot now.
That's cool.
And obviously, you don't really play it that much.
It's not my favorite.
Yeah, it's not your favorite. But I like Mario Party just because of the minigames are cool, but I like it mainly because of the strategizing.
Right.
A lot of people associate Mario Party with luck, and it is a huge part of it. But if you are good at strategizing, like your moves, and like every move you make is obviously what you decide, except for the dice roll, but you can't control that. But if you can dictate, I guess is what I'm looking for, dictate each move you're making, then you'll do well every Mario Party game. Or almost every game. Luck's still a huge factor, but yeah, I really like Mario Party. I've been into Mario Party a lot recently because after watching the direct, I decided to watch Ray's tournament again because they did Mario Party 1 up till 7. Every board of everything.
That's cool. And
it's very, very enjoyable to watch because he did that with Chilled Chaos. Do you not know Chilled Chaos?
Nope.
Okay. He did it with just a bunch of streamers. You probably won't know the other 2 then.
Probably not.
If you don't know Chilled Chaos. Oh man. All right. He's been a YouTuber for a while. I think he was part of the Creatures for a little bit. Do you know what the Creatures is?
Yeah, I know shit.
Well, all right. But yeah, he did that with those guys. Chilled Z and a Platypus is the other guy's name.
Okay.
And a Platypus, interesting thing about him is that he actually became big because of Ray. Ray raided him in like 2015, and that's how he like popped up.
Cool.
So that's how they became friends.
Sweet.
That's back in the day when Ray would like raid really small streamers and kind of pop them up a little bit.
It's cool.
Yeah. But it's an enjoyable series. Obviously, it's not for everybody, but all right. All right. Anything else we could talk about? Moving on from video games. I just wanted to get the Mario Party thing off my chest since I've been digging it recently.
Yeah, I feel like, with you, like, kind of sparked your interest there. For me, it was like the I guess the RGG Summit is what they called when they announced all the Yakuza stuff, or Like a Dragon stuff.
Yeah.
So confusing.
Yeah.
I'm still gonna keep calling it Yakuza from
it's very fair.
time to time. But yeah, when they announced stuff there, I was kind of already playing the games and still in that mode of just like, let me play this shit.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely, yeah, I was still kind of on that. So, but it just kind of like added fuel to it. So yeah, I'm really excited to start playing them.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I know you probably aren't interested in playing it anytime soon, but if you'd be down, I probably won't get Donovan for this, but I'll probably get a couple other people that are interested. We could do a drunk Mario Party session. I think that would at least be fun.
It'd be fun, yeah.
Because I think Mario Party is the one game you could play drunk and actually have a good time.
Yeah, Mario Kart, not so much.
Yeah, because, it's stressful.
Yeah,
because it's more like quick paced,
We were at, when Holden and I went to Spencer's in Cincinnati.
Oh, boy.
God, it's awful.
I saw you guys playing, like, Wii Sports.
Oh, yeah, we did that, too.
It was on like Spencer's story or something.
Yeah, one of his roommates like had the game, and yeah, we were playing through like all the stuff on Wii Sports.
Gotcha.
Which is fun. Yeah, I guess I wasn't fully sent over the edge, but I was hanging out with Jared the other day.
Okay.
And we were playing through. It wasn't. It was like a mod of Smash 64, but it was like on a cartridge.
Yeah, he told me about that.
Yeah. I think it was called Smash Remix, and we were playing through that. And
I'd never heard about that.
It was pretty interesting, actually. And I'll be honest, Jared's not the best at Smash, but it was just fun to like trash talk him.
I have a story. So sophomore year, or it was like maybe it was freshman year even. Jared approached me and he was like, "I heard you're pretty good at Smash." And I was like, "I'm okay." And he's like, "I want to challenge you to Smash Bros." And then we made an Instagram chat for it. And there's a bunch of people involved. It was like Nick Carter, Sam Carter, Grant, Holden was there. I don't know if you were there. This might have been before I knew you.
Probably.
And Jared was there. Jared was challenging me to Smash Bros. He brought over Melee and Brawl, even though Grant already had Brawl. We did it at Grant's house, and I think this is the last time Jared was inside Grant's house, and only time, and we played Smash. I destroyed him in Brawl, and then he was like, "All right, let's see how you are in Melee." And then, because Jared, let me just say this real quick. Jared had been practicing for like months, and I hadn't practiced at all. And I beat him at Brawl, and then he challenged me at Melee, and I beat him at Melee. And then he was like, "Okay, I guess you just play this game non-stop." I was like, "I haven't touched this game in like a year."
Yeah, the funny thing about that. Up until that point that I hung out with Jared the other day, I had never even touched Smash 64, and I whooped his ass.
One thing I will say about Jared, though, he did show me in Melee the Master Hand glitch, which was pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
That was pretty cool that he showed that to me. But yeah, it's just funny. Yeah, I hung out with him like a week ago as well, and he was like, "We got to get the gang together." And he says that every time, but we never did.
Every time, yeah. And we also played Mario Kart 64.
Okay.
And
it's a good game.
It was so fucking funny. I was like he was in first place, and I was in like fifth, and because I'm not the best at Mario Kart 64.
Yeah.
And so he's in like first place. I'm like, "Dude, I'm in fifth." He's like, "Dude, you want me to come back there and help you with that?" And he goes back with like a shell and just like whoops my ass.
God.
Like just goes from first to fifth just to fuck with me.
What a piece of shit.
It was so fun. And if that shows you like how Jared plays games, it's the most like hilarious but also frustrating shit to deal with.
Yeah.
But and like trash talking with him and just to whoop his ass in Smash was just so funny.
He was talking to me about getting both of those. He got Smash 64 Remix, and he told me he got Mario 64 Star Road, and I was like, "Oh, I've heard of that."
Yeah.
It's like you could play 2 players, and he was like, "Yeah," and I was like, "Yeah, I've heard of that." And then I was like, "But I never heard of Smash 64 Remix." He was like, "Oh, it's actually pretty good," and he was like, "You get characters like Bowser and who else like."
You get like Sonic and like
really?
Conquer, Dark Samus is in there for some reason.
That's kind of crazy.
Lucas. Yeah, there's a lot. You can play the Mad Piano from the Smash 64.
Oh, really? Oh,
or, Mario 64?
Mario 64,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can play as the piano.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. There's Marths in there.
Okay.
So they had a lot of...
When did that come out?
I don't know. They're still updating it too. Like I think a month ago they added Chic.
Okay.
So
interesting.
Yeah.
But Jared said he wanted to get like a group to go downtown and wear like suits and stuff. I think
we've always talked about doing something like that.
I think the group he wants specifically are like, he asked me, he said, you, me, Andrew, and then I was like, let me add some people. Let's add Clifton and Grayson, and he's like, all right.
What kind of suits are we talking about?
Like your purple suit would be fine.
What if I get a snakeskin jacket?
All right, man. Whatever you want. And then I came to him with an idea, and he seemed down for this, but I'll probably make a chat about it as well. We got to get a group together around Christmas and do a Christmas party.
I agree.
And I think that'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah. Didn't you guys talk about that on the...
We did?
Didn't you?
On what?
On the podcast.
We did?
Last episode, I think.
I did?
I think.
Oh, great. Pull it up. I need to listen to this real quick.
Pulling up the fucking old podcast.
Wait, episode 28? Was that somebody texting you? Probably your mom or something.
What? Who's texting me? What are you talking about? You want me to pull up the thing right now?
Yeah, do it. It's only 20 minutes long. Did we talk about the Christmas party already?
You said something about it. I swear you did.
No.
That's how the fucking podcast... Hold on, this is how the last podcast starts out?
Dude, don't... Wait, what?
No.
Yeah, I was like... So, I think I was telling Holden something as it was going down. I was like, so, do you want to do this? And he was like, no.
That's funny. Let me try to find this thing for a second.
God damn it.
You can talk about something.
Yeah, by the way, we were in the car at Jolly Pirate Donuts recording that. That's how we recorded it. I want you to play the honking horn guy. That's like, I forget how far that is in, but he like honks his horn at me, and I'm like, I get so pissed.
It's towards the end, isn't it?
I think so. But that's a funny moment. I think that's one of the funniest in our podcast history. Oh shit.
That's not good.
I'll cut that out.
I don't know when the timestamp is for it. Oh wait, here you go.
And this is only between me and Jared, but I'm gonna talk about it with you. I guess we'll talk about it on the podcast. I was thinking of doing like a Christmas. I did talk about it. What the heck?
I'm telling you.
You can hear past me and present me, or I guess both are past me if you're watching this now.
That's true. That's a mind fuck.
The dog's good.
Anyway.
What the fuck? I did talk.
Oh yeah, I couldn't make eggnog for that though.
You did?
I can make eggnog.
Oh, you can. I thought you said I made eggnog.
I didn't make eggnog now. It's fucking
No,
September.
But I had eggnog at Grant's before. This is back when we went to his place around Christmas. It was like December.
Did it suck ass?
No, it was actually extremely good. I forget what
they make it. Or?
No, they got it from like a store.
Oh, you don't want to eat it. You don't want to drink that shit.
But it was good.
Don't drink that shit.
I forget where they got it from.
Okay, there's that eggnog. That eggnog is gonna taste like shit compared to what I'm gonna make for this Christmas party.
Okay, it better be good then.
It's gonna be fucking amazing.
It was always so good, and this is back when James, Nick, and I would hang out with Grant. And we would always drink that eggnog, and James, Nick, and I we all loved it. And it was really good. And I haven't really hung out with Grant around December in like 3 years, so I kind of miss that. I kind of miss tasting eggnog. But yeah, we got to get Grant for it, and then it'll be fun.
I'll make the eggnog.
All right, I'm excited for
Maybe
that.
some Chex Mix too. I can make that.
Apparently, I mentioned it before.
You did, dude.
I'm sorry about that. I want you to play the honking horn.
I don't know
guy.
when that happens in the.
I think it's around. I'm talking about football. This is it.
Packers didn't look good against Minnesota, but then again, it was a Week 1 game.
Garrity.
Packers always do bad at Week 1 games.
Yeah, I think they'll bounce back.
What the fuck?
Win.
Do you mind?
What the fuck was that?
This asshole was behind us, and he was honking his horn at us.
Where were you at?
We were at Jelly Park Donuts.
Were you in the parking lot?
Yeah, we were just parked, and then this asshole comes behind us, honks his horn, and then drives away.
What the fuck?
And then you can hear me like open the door.
We'll edit the fucking scrolling out, won't we?
Yeah, I'll edit that out.
Right.
I'm editing this a lot, so I'm putting in like pictures of what I talked about, like the the Paul McCartney poll. Spoilers: Paul McCartney won.
What?
Even though you saw it before.
Yeah, I did.
And then the picture of Ray looking like a thumb.
Yes.
And then my hair for my senior pick. Okay, those are the 3 things I'm putting in, and then I'll cut out the portion of us scrolling through our past podcast.
I wasn't even on that podcast.
Yeah,
I watched it though.
Grayson watched it. All right. What else can we talk about? A couple more things to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Grayson just watched the finale of season 2 finale of Avatar: The Last Airbender.
True.
Crossroads of Destiny. We've been watching that ever since episode 8 of the podcast.
Yep.
And what were your thoughts of season 2 as a whole?
It's pretty good.
All right.
I enjoyed it. Yeah, I thought it was. I feel like it had definitely more of like an arc.
Yeah.
So
that's definitely how a lot of people see it. And then imagine being a viewer of that as it was happening live, and then after it ends, you have to wait a whole year,
dude,
to start season 3.
Imagine being like, how old have you been? Like 5 years old? You shit your pants.
Yeah, I guess. Dude, I shit myself. I was actually listening to the Rooster Teeth podcast. This is like a very old episode. It's a one Gavin and Ray were on. So Ray's not normally on the RT podcast, but it was interesting to watch. This is back when Gavin lived with Jeff, and Gavin was telling the story. He was like, he was just sleeping, and then Jeff came into the room, and he was like, and then Gavin was like, what? And then he was like, I just shit my pants. and then Gavin was like, oh, so you washed yourself and then you went to tell me? And he's like, no, I still shit my pants. Like, I came in here to tell you as soon as I shit my pants. He's like, what the fuck? And then he was like, yeah, I was just sitting on the couch watching football and I shit my pants.
What the fuck?
This fucking Jeff, dude. If anything could sum up Jeff, it's the words, I shit my pants. And then Gavin at the time, he was like, Jeff's 37 and he's shitting himself. Of course, fuck? Jeff now is like 47. I think that was 10 years ago.
Oh shit.
But yeah, it's funny. Jeff, by the way, looks a lot better than he used to. He's been sober for 5 years now, so very good on him. He used to, his whole shtick back in the day was being drunk.
Oh.
So just drinking all the time.
I'm sure that became a problem.
Yeah. And then he, like back in 2015, he was like, oh, I'm going to quit. And then he's like, I'm going to start drinking once a week. And then that's it. And then it turned to 2 times a week and then 3 times a week. So, you know, that's how it goes with alcoholics.
Right.
But I'm very, even though I don't know the guy, I'm very proud of him for being sober for 5 weeks or 5 years.
5 weeks, man. 5 weeks. 5 weeks.
Yeah, 5 weeks. It's the time gap between episode 26 and 27 of our podcast.
What?
5 weeks. Never mind.
I don't even remember what.
Well, I don't know, man. We haven't uploaded as consistently anymore.
Whose fault is that?
It's my fault. Okay, I'm sorry. But yeah, and I think we can end it there.
Shit in your pants.
It's a strong podcast. I just shit my pants. He said it in that.
He's 37 years old. He's still shitting his pants.
Yeah. And it's just funny whenever like he laughs. Jeff farts a lot, and every time he laughs when he's farting, he's like he has the same reaction. I'm gonna shit my pants.
Oh my god, that's funny.
A video I recommend. This is an extremely old video, and you might not care for it because it's baseball. But it's
baseball is like one of the sports I do care about.
All right. Well, it's Rooster Teeth's MLB 2K12.
Okay.
And Gavin absolutely knows nothing about baseball, and Jeff actually almost shit himself in the video. And you know the thing, it's kind of hard to describe, but it's like a white thing that's like curves like this, like on the side of the foul line, on baseball diamonds.
Yeah.
Gavin goes, "Oh, look at that staple!" And Jeff's going, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
That's hilarious. Look at that staple.
Oh god. Are You Smarter Than the Fifth Grader is another good one that they do. And the kids are like in the audience, and then like in the middle of the video, like Gavin like fucks up a question, and then Jeff starts laughing, and then he's like, "Do the kids get paid?" Jeff almost shit himself there. So yeah.
Yeah, no, that's fucking sense of humor is so funny to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's Gavin's probably by technicality the one that I've watched the most.
Slow-mo guys.
Two slow-mo guys, yeah.
Very popular channel. It's how he actually got hired at Rooster Teeth.
Really?
He had known, he had been a part of the Rooster Teeth community since it was basically founded. He always would post on the site back in like 2003. And then he could never, they wanted him there in like 2007, but he didn't have a visa. So that was a problem for like 5 years. And then in 2010, he, used his slow-mo camera to make a video. And the big water balloon.
Yeah.
That's the video that kind of set him off the ground.
Yeah, where the guy goes in the giant fucking balloon and just
slow-mo.
Yeah.
And
they just did something recently with a Stretch Armstrong.
Oh, did they?
They hooked up like a hose to it. Like they cut his like hand off and they put the hose in there and then it just blows up. But it's funny because like every time it blows up in the same spot, which is right at the crotch. But it's in like a different way every time.
That's funny.
But I won't spoil it. Go ahead and watch it. It's a good video.
It's a good video. Gavin's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
All right, I think, unfortunately we didn't hit an hour. I think if we even tried to go at an hour, we cut out like 4 minutes from the fucking scrolling. Yeah. So it's, we'll probably just end it
Why
here.
Why bother? It's long enough as this.
We'll just let it be. Okay, speaking words of wisdom. What is your favorite Beatles song?
It's actually a good question.
It's a tough question.
Probably, it's a Harrison one, probably Something.
Okay. Yeah, mine is also a McCartney one, so kind of defines who we are.
Right, yeah.
Mine is actually Let It Be.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
I like that one a lot.
And I kind of had something similar to how McCartney came up with that song recently. You know how he came up with it, right? So
I feel like I would remember if you told me.
He had a dream about his mother.
Yeah.
Who had died 10 years prior, and she McCartney was like really stressed out at the time, and she said she knew that in the dream, and she said, "Don't worry, just let it be, Paul." And then he woke up and he was like, "Oh," and then he like remembered what words she said and then wrote a song about it.
Right. Yeah. No, that's.
And I had a dream a couple days ago about my dog Leo. And he, when you're in the dream, you don't know they're gone. Yeah. So I just thought of it like any other time he was here. And it was a really good dream. And then awesome. I woke up disappointed. Oh. So. Yeah,
I had a dream once like about my grandpa who passed away, and just like hearing him talk again, like the dream was like super cool, and I like woke up and I was kind of like happy because you can't get that experience in real life again, so to get it in a dream where it just feels so real, it's like, oh man, that was super cool. So
yeah, for sure.
There you go. End on a little melancholy note.
Yep, and on a sad note.
Bittersweet.
Right. I just shit my pants.
37 years old, still shitting your pants.
We'll end it on that note to make it a little happier. All right, and guys for watching. We'll see you guys next week for our 30th.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I know. We're old. Damn. This year's going by fast. Because we started the podcast at the beginning of the year. January 2022.
We did? No, I didn't.
Sorry. Holden and I. Jesus. Your first episode was like what, episode 4?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, episode 4. Because first one was me and Holden, and then our first guest was my sister, and then the third one was also just me and Holden, which I still think episode 3 is our weakest episode.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah.
Probably for the best.
It's just a bunch of bullshit. I remember this episode specifically. Like, we just talk about bullshit the whole time.
Oh, yeah?
And I didn't like it.
Oh, wait, yeah, I think I remember that one. It wasn't very memorable, though.
No.
I remember it for not being memorable. So.
And then you came on, and then episode 5 with Grant, I believe. Grant,
yeah. I feel like that was a learning experience, because we learned how to do multiple guests.
Yeah. Well, we've had multiple guests.
We have had, but we did it a lot better, like the other times. Not that Grant or I were like bad guests.
We gotta try
just how we went about it.
I'll tell you what. Next podcast we'll get Grant, and it'll just be you, me, and Grant.
All right.
We'll try that.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, because we've not had an episode with you and Grant on one since that episode.
Yeah. No, it wasn't a bad. The things we talked about were not bad. It's that we were talking about multiple things at the same time.
There was like 4 different points in that episode. where I was talking to you about something, or rather, you were talking to me and I was listening.
Yeah.
Or sorry, no, other way around. I was talking to you, you were listening.
Yeah.
And then Holden and Grant were talking about something. And then I remember you saying, there's two conversations going on. And then I got pissed because I was like, not two conversations because I'm talking to you and you're listening. I remember that specifically. And then there's points where Grant and I would talk to each other and you and Holden would talk to each other.
God.
And then the worst one was you and Grant talking to each other and me and Holden laughing the whole time.
God, it was a mess, dude. Oh my God.
God.
No, we got better.
Yeah.
By the time we had like me and Chris, it was
No, you and Brooks.
me and Brooks was Brooks.
Brooks was
before Chris. Yeah, by the time we got those, it was definitely a lot better because it was more like, all right, let's take turns talking here rather than everybody talking at once. So.
Yeah, it's definitely good. As you guys know, Holden will be gone for a while. He should be back in November very briefly.
Yeah.
Or rather, just getting his phone back, right? And then coming back in December.
Something like that.
I
don't remember what he said.
But in December, he'll be back for podcast. But until then, the rest of September and into October and into November and into early December, Grayson will be the co-host. So he'll be here for the foreseeable future.
True.
But thank you for being on this episode. Thank you for taking over co-hosting duties.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem.
Happy to.
And as far as you guys are concerned, we'll see you guys next Tuesday for another episode of The Bagel.
Yeehaw.